I just booked a business class flight round trip to Athens, Greece, solely on credit card points. What's up guys, it's McKeown back again with another video this week. And this week we're gonna be discussing the differences between credit cards and debit cards. Now, disclaimer here, if you are not the most financial savvy individual, I highly suggest that you keep using your debit card, but there are a ton of benefits of using a credit card as long as you pay them off at the end of the month, because I can tell you, credit card interest rates will absolutely crush you. Now, before we get into things, I do want to say I'm not, what would be considered a travel hacker. I'm not a credit card extraordinaire. I am just an average Joe being able to utilize the basic knowledge of credit card redemption points across both my business spend and my personal spend. Now, I will tell you the credit cards that I do use on the personal side, simply flat Chase Sapphire Reserve. It's the only one that I really use for my personal use. Now, when it comes to the business side of things, I do have a couple businesses. When you do have a couple businesses, you can technically get the same credit card for both businesses. So in this case, I have a real estate company as well as a rental portfolio. Both of those utilize the Chase Business Inc. preferred credit card. Both of those, as well as my Chase Sapphire Reserve, I was able to accumulate a decent, I would say north of 300,000 points just from meeting a certain spend when I first opened up the credit card. Now, on top of that, I do have a couple Amex cards or American Express cards. I have the American Express Gold Business as well as the American Express Marriott Bonvoy Business Credit Card too. That's my most recent one. The Marriott Bonvoy I'll get to in just a second, but it is probably the only card that you would utilize more so for hotels rather than just your everyday purchases. Now, this is not a video detailing all the aspects of every single one of those cards. I did have a comparison video that you can go watch if you would like, comparing the Amex Gold versus the Chase Business Inc. This is going to be more knowledge for the folks that are not your travel hackers, or maybe they're using solely debit cards, because I can tell you a large portion of the people that I go out to dinner with or hang out with, oftentimes if they pull a debit card from their wallet, it kind of makes me wonder if they truly know the power and the opportunity with utilizing credit card points. So let's jump into it, guys. And I'm gonna just give you an example right out the gate. Prior, I have been able to fly off of credit card points to New Zealand for roughly about $200 to $250. It was an error flight. Now, there are going to be options and opportunities out there where airlines kind of have an error, for a lack of better terms, and you get a great opportunity being able to book that flight. Oftentimes, error flights are not something that you can use credit card points for, but I'm gonna give you guys some ideas of what I have been able to do with utilizing credit card points. So first off, Chase is probably gonna be the easiest, and the easiest for me because it's the first credit card that I got. And then on top of that, I acquired 2 additional Chase business credit cards. So I have a ton of Chase points. Chase points can actually be transferred to an airline depending on what kind of airline you're wanting to book. So to give you an exact example, a couple years back, I flew first class to Australia for roughly about 120,000 points. 120,000 points, if you're gonna equate that to a cash value, you're talking about $1,200. Now, that $1,200 was a round trip, one-way flight to Sydney, Australia. I believe it was out of Houston. I live in Dallas, so it just took a short flight over to Houston and then a straight one-way there and a straight one-way back. Again, roughly about 120,000 points, $1,200 give or take. But if I were to pay that just outright on a website, maybe on that airline's website itself or Google Flights or whatever it may be, you're looking at probably $7,000 to $9,000 for that first class round trip ticket. But again, that 120,000 credit card points are points that are acquired by just using my credit card. Like if you're gonna go out to a business and spend some money, or if you're gonna go out and get some groceries, maybe pay for your gas, you're gonna use your debit card, you're gonna be utilizing it, but your debit card doesn't pay you anything back. That 120,000 miles I accumulated over the course of using my credit card didn't cost me any more to acquire. I paid my credit card off at the end of the month, and I utilized those points to buy a round trip ticket to Australia essentially for free. Another example that you right now could book, I'll give you an example because I just booked it last night, a round trip business class ticket to Athens, Greece from Newark, New Jersey. Okay, if you were to go to Emirates right now and you transfer points from any of your Chase accounts over to Emirates, it's gonna be a 1-to-1 transfer. So for instance, in this case, at 150,000 points that I transferred over to 150,000 miles for Emirates business class round trip ticket to Athens, Greece. Cost me about 147,000 miles plus about $200 in fees. Accumulate that into a total dollar amount, you're talking about $1,600 cash. Again, this is a business class trip ticket that is a full laydown with a bar included and just a ton of other perks and amenities. Well worth the $1,600 spend. But if you were to just go to Emirates website right now and buy it with cash, or I guess I could say your debit card, you're gonna be spending $4,500 to north of $5,000. And again, guys, the $1,600 in cash value that I spent or moved my points from my Chase account over to my Emirates account, credit card points that I essentially acquired by normal everyday purchases or acquired off of the bonus that they give you when you hit that first threshold of spend amount when you open up that credit card. Now, one thing that you need to look at when it comes to opening up different credit cards is the amount of credit cards that you can actually open up. Now, I'm not gonna go into too much detail about it, but Chase has a limit. You can't just go out and get 12 different Chase credit cards. You can't really go out and just get all of the Amex credit cards, but there are actually strategies out there that will allow you to take advantage of all the credit cards and all the credit card points that they actually award you, again, after some set amount of spend. Every single credit card's award system is gonna be different. Some are gonna leverage more for restaurants, some are gonna leverage more for airline spend, some are gonna leverage, such as my Marriott Bonvoy. Marriott Bonvoy is gonna give me 6 times for every dollar spent for any kind of Marriott hotels that I stay in. For instance, I just stayed in San Diego, spent about $1,000 for 3 nights, I believe it was, after taxes and everything is all said and done. Usually on any kind of credit card, if they don't have any bonus for that particular spend, you're gonna be spending $1,000 and getting a 1-to-1 ratio. So at Marriott, I would have spent $1,000 and I would have got 1,000 credit card points. But using my Marriott Bonvoy, I spent $1,000 and they have a 6x bonus. So I didn't get 1,000 points, I got 6,000 points. So really, that's a 3-night spend. If you can do the math, about 120,000 round trip is gonna get me to Europe on a lay down business class trip ticket. So let's do some quick math here. My business manager, videographer, and myself went down to San Antonio and stayed at the Marriott downtown. Now, total mileage redemption for that weekend, because obviously I got 2 separate rooms, stayed 3 separate nights, spent about $2,000 total for 3 nights for 2 separate rooms. I acquired about 12,000 points due to the 6x. All I've got to do really is do that 10 more times over the course of the next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it may be, and I've essentially redeemed enough points to go and do exactly what I bought last night, which is a round trip ticket to Athens, Greece on a lay down, basically top of the line airline business class. But again, guys, this is just one spend on one credit card. Obviously, my business is spending more money elsewhere. Obviously, my personal spend is being spent, on my own personal time. So if you combine all of your spending, whether it be for your business or your personal spend, these miles can accumulate really, really fast. And even for someone that's going to be spending far less money than me, even the sign-up bonus for some of these credit cards will do exactly what I'm looking to do next year. Fly to Athens, Greece in business class. Now, if you are someone that's interested in utilizing credit card points, I highly suggest that you do some research. There is a lot that goes into it. Again, me, myself, I am not someone that is spending an overzealous amount of time just researching as much credit cards as I can. I've watched some videos. I've learned over the course of the last 5 to 10 years what it's like with credit card spend. But make sure, once again, that you are not someone that will overspend or someone that is not financially savvy. Credit card basically will give you a limit. Let's say it's $5, $10, $20, $50,000. And if you're someone that has a limit and doesn't know how to stop, you're gonna wind up maxing out that credit card and spending the forever amount of time trying to pay it back. But on the flip side, if you need to pay for groceries, if you need to pay for your utilities, if you need to pay for just your miscellaneous spend, and at the end of the month, you're gonna be able to pay that credit card off, might as well get a credit card that's going to give you a good amount of points back, save up the points, and then use the points for whatever you may desire. Now, I'd love to answer any questions that you may have down in the comment section below, so feel free to reach out. Ask me anything that you want. Again, by no means am I the total expert, but I have been utilizing credit card redemption points for probably the last 6 or 7 years, and I have a ton saved up that I'm excited to be able to use in the future. Thanks again for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help, and stay tuned for the next video.